I look at the Democrats, they're in total disarray. They have a new person named Crockett. I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. And they said, she's the future of the party. I said, you have to be kidding.
But she's a lowlife. And she's a very low IQ person and a lowlife. And I don't imagine the Democrats are going to have a person like that running their party. If they do, they'll never win an election again. It would be very hard. But I can't imagine she's going to last long.
Yo, first off, somebody get this guy a bottle of Robitussin because he sounds like he caught the norovirus or something. But the mistake he made was finally deciding to go after Jasmine Crockett with the same tired line about low IQ because she hasn't taken her foot off his neck ever since.
So, Miss Goss-Graves, I want to play a game. It's called Trump or Trans. You ready?
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to tell me whether or not it is Trump or trans people that are responsible. You understand?
Got it.
Okay, very good. The first one, gutted medical research.
Trump.
Kidnapping Americans and sending them to foreign countries, a.k.a. deporting them.
Trump.
Driving us into a recession.
Trump.
Increasing the cost of everything.
Trump.
Waging an idiotic tariff war.
Trump.
Harming farmers.
Trump.
Ignoring the Constitution.
Trump.
Proposing to take away Social Security.
Trump.
Cutting health care.
Trump.
Firing government workers who keep our country safe.
Trump.
Encouraging an environment of hate and divisiveness.
Trump.
Thank you so much. This committee could be engaged in actual oversight of fraud, waste, abuse, and mismanagement. So let's talk about waste. Like Trump's plan to spend almost $100 million for his little birthday parade. Or how he spent 25% of his first 100 days golfing, costing taxpayers tens of millions of dollars. In fact, it's a little bit over $30 million at our last estimation. In fact, President Trump is on pace to spend more than $1 billion of taxpayer dollars just on golfing. Yet the Republicans have been silent. So they must think spending taxpayer dollars on the president's golfing trips is more important than providing health care to their constituents.
It's a simple counterattack plan because it's past time for people that are opposed to MAGA to stop arguing about why they hate trans people, black people, Latinos, women, veterans, scientists, cancer patients, the elderly, middle and lower income Americans. They openly hate everyone that Donald Trump hates under the very thin guise of being populists. Jasmine Crockett and Democrats that aren't afraid of Trump's childish name-calling are directly pointing out that his hatred isn't addressing the issues that they claim to have voted for.
They also were supposed to have a markup as it relates to agriculture and SNAP benefits, cutting $220 billion from SNAP when people only get $6 a day to eat in SNAP benefits for those that do receive it. And the last time I checked, you probably can't get 12 eggs for that amount of money. And so instead of doing it, literally there was a leak in a story that came out where staffers said, no, we want to make sure we can flood the zone. So whenever we do this, we're going to make sure that these committees are going to be at the same time. Like the fact that you're hiding from your constituents, the fact that you literally just are like, let me just throw everything at you so that we can overwhelm you. Instead of actually doing your job, I cannot wait until voters have an opportunity to say, you took food out of my mouth, you took a roof from over my head, you're responsible for making sure that I do not have health care. I'm going to make sure you don't have a job.
It's why they keep most folks distracted by analyzing people's genitalia and claiming all you have to do is trust Trump while your pockets are empty and your jobs are gone. They're dismantling government programs that so many MAGA voters pay for and depend on. But they figure that they'd rather feast on political red meat than actual food.
Who out there in the American public is sitting at home demanding that we shut down cancer research and Alzheimer's research? We're going to pay for this not just in lives and children's lives right now, but we're going to pay for this for a century. Irreversible damage has already been done, and it's an outrage. And I hope that this hearing demonstrates that there's bipartisan rejection of these policies here in the United States Senate, and I hope that we'll follow up this hearing with real action.
Yo, man, John Ossoff may be hoping for those stark comparisons to shame enough Republicans into realizing that they're in lockstep with the person that's literally attacking disease research and prevention that nearly every American has been at least 1 degree from. But GOP legislators prove every day that they're willing to go down with this MAGA shit.
They just voted to give Trump the ability, legally, to give him the ability to deport U.S. citizens. That is what they voted for. A bunch of elected U.S. representatives. That is how they voted. Am I telling a lie, Eric, or no?
No, I got my salad here. Mouthful. No, I'm stunned.
I'm not. But I'm glad that you... Oh, okay. Eric been here longer than me, but like...
So what we said was, we even said, you know what, many of us will not offer any more amendments tonight. We won't vote for the overall bill. But if you agree to this, we'll drop any other amendments. We'll take the win that this would be in the bill, that you would agree U.S. citizens can't be deported. They voted to allow Donald Trump to deport U.S. citizens. And they did it during the week that we learned that a 4-year-old little girl fighting cancer, a U.S. citizen, has been deported, separated from her U.S. citizen father and her cancer treatment. So, yeah, it's kind of shocking.
Well, he's shocked. Y'all, listen now. I came in with nothing but fools. So he been here longer, so maybe he still has a little bit of shock in his life, but I don't personally. Because the fact is, we used to live in a world in which where we saw the news about that baby that got deported, the baby with cancer, because supposedly he the man that's all about the children with cancer, right? Like, that's why he made sure one of his guests was at the State of the Union was a child with cancer. So surely, even though they're cutting cancer funding, but like, it is a U.S. citizen.
Notice that this administration will talk about wrongfully deporting people that they baselessly claim are on MS-13, but aren't promoting the fact that they're deporting American citizens with cancer, while their minions in Congress refuse to pass anything that'll stop it. So has anyone that's still confused begun to realize that they're actively attacking the country?
I just want a simple yes or no. Do you support an exemption to tariffs on items that parents need to care for their kids? Because you all claim you're pro-family. I cannot hear the words you say because I see the things that you do every day. So clear it up. Yes or no? Do you support an exemption to tariffs on items that parents need to care for their babies?
It is under consideration.
Great. Good. I don't know what's stopping an exemption from going into effect today, so do it now. Mr. Secretary, do you know what a car seat is?
I have 2 children, yes.
I figured as much. It's correct, you and your husband have 2 children. So I'm sure you know that car seats are absolutely essential for families when traveling with babies and toddlers to school, to worship, to doctor's appointments, just everyday living. But not only are car seats essential, they are the law of the land. It's the law of the land in 50 states. So there's no getting around that. But now that cost is going up because Trump has announced up to 145% tariffs on Chinese imported products. Approximately 9 out of every 10 car seats in the U.S. come from China. And it's not just the car seats that are impacted. We're talking about strollers, cribs, high chairs. There needs to be an exemption to help America's families.
If you support Trump and his monster, Scott Bessent, you support raising the prices on things that parents need to take care of their kids. The same party that crisscrossed the country talking about the need to have more babies and how so many Democrats are against mothers and beautiful babies. But when it's time to take care of those babies, the plan is to make sure that you go into debt for a car seat so that your beautiful baby doesn't die in a horrific car accident. Oh, and side note, did y'all notice that Representative Presley there mentioned Scott Bessent's husband, who he said he has 2 kids with? Ever wonder why MAGA isn't pulling their hair out and claiming he's poisoning his children with that godless marriage that's turning his kids gay? They said it, along with tons of other disparaging things about Pete Buttigieg's marriage and decision to have kids with his husband. But he's a Democrat, so it's apparently only disgusting if you don't work for Trump. Please, someone make it make sense. Regardless, though, the clock keeps ticking on the time that this administration has with fooling too many Americans into believing that they have a shred of interest in progressing the country forward, when all they have are insults and one-liners that ironically describe them to a T.
I'll let the American people decide who the weirdos are, because I think we know.